So some considerations that an advisor and a plan sponsor need to be taking a look at. And by the way, a plan sponsor should be aware of all these things and be able to answer all of these questions when asked. So if you ever come across a plan sponsor, for instance, who can't answer who pays the investment costs or who pays the record keeping costs, is it taken out of participant accounts? Is there a flat fee? How is it paid? How is it paid? And then what's the best pricing model for this plan? So is this a plan that maybe that the fee should be paid out of 12B1 or revenue sharing fees? Should the participants handle the investment cost? Should it be paid by the plan? There's a lot of different routes that an advisor and plan sponsor can go when talking about these different fees. And so really what we're trying to do here is frame the conversation for the plan sponsor to make sure that they're aware of everything that they need to be aware of. So what should you be benchmarking, right? So investment fees. This is probably the most commonly benchmarked piece of a retirement plan. Anytime an advisor is running investment due diligence, there's a pretty good chance that the fees of those investments is going to be brought up. So, quarterly, semi-annual, or annual investment reviews will typically at least touch on investment fees. But one of the things that some advisors tend to kind of leave on the back burner is the administrative fees. So not only what is the record keeper charge to run the plan, but what kind of communications charges do they have? Is there any sort of additional compliance fees in terms of incidental charges that the plan can incur? And that's typically either paid for the plan sponsor, by the plan sponsor, or by the participants. So again, something to take a look at with your plan sponsor to see if they're aware of this. And then lastly, advisory fees. So this is typically used for prospecting type conversations where you might be able to go in and say, hey, what's your current advisor charging? What kind of services are they offering you? Well, I actually charge less money or just the same and offer twice the amount of services. And that's where things like the Prism 365 report come in. And again, there's a conversation around who pays the advisor compensation. Is it taken out of participant accounts? Is it paid for by the plan sponsor? So a couple different things that impact the pricing of a particular plan, and I don't need to spend a ton of time on this, but really, I think it's just important to stress that there's really no stone that can be left unturned, especially in those live bid provider analysis RFP type situations where you want to be taking a look at the financials of the plan. How complex is the plan design? What kind of funds is the plan using? Is there any sort of educational support for participants? That's something that we're seeing a huge shift towards in our industry right now, is a much more concentrated emphasis on education for or for participants. And so does this advisor offer, one-on-one meetings with participants? Do they offer any sort of educational materials, et cetera? And then a couple last things to consider when you're looking at a plan or benchmarking a plan versus benchmarking a provider. So when you're looking at a plan, you need to take into consideration size, the service requirements, and the investment needs. And so, we all know that, working with plan sponsors, some plan sponsors, their number one goal is to say, hey, I want to run a plan that gives the best returns to my participants, or I need a plan where any of our participants can call up our advisor and get them on the phone. Or how big is the plan? How many participants, et cetera. And then looking at providers, does the provider service the demographic that your plan falls under? What are that provider's strength and experience? And then what kind of capabilities does that provider have? Is there a robust participant login where they can go and view all the information for their plan? Is there a support line that the participant can call to talk about their account? All those things should be taken into consideration. And on top of that, not only should these things be taken into consideration when you're servicing a current client, but these are also all different avenues that you can go down with a prospect to say, how much do you know about your retirement plan? Are all the T's crossed or all the I's dotted? And so this is just a couple of different things that we see in the marketplace that advisors should be benchmarked. Thanks a lot for watching today, folks. Again, my name's Luke Vandermillen. I'm with the PlanFees team. I can be reached at 949-305-3718 or lukev@planfees.com. That's V as in Veronica, lukev@planfees.com. Thanks again and have a great rest of your day.